My fiancé's dad joked at our engagement party, "My daughter is marrying 10 rungs below her." I laughed and said, "He's right." Then I took the mic, thanked him for his honesty, and announced the wedding was off. What he did when I handed his daughter the bill for the entire party. I, 32 male, am a custom furniture maker. I own a small business. I build high-end, bespoke tables, chairs, cabinets, that kind of thing. It's a good living, but it's a living. I work with my hands. I end most days covered in sawdust. I was engaged to Amelia, 29. We've been together for 4 years. She's polished. She works in art curation, which is how we met. She commissioned a set of display pedestals. Her family is, well, they're rich. Not just has money rich, but looks down on people who work with their hands rich. Her father, Frederick, 61, has never liked me. He's made a career of, owning things. He's a snob, plain and simple. He'd always make these little digs wrapped in a joke. "Benjamin, must be nice to just make things. So rustic." "Amelia, darling, are you sure you want to go to his workshop? You'll get splinters." I brushed it off. I loved Amelia, and she, I thought, loved me. She seemed to find her family's attitude embarrassing, or so I thought. When I proposed, she said yes. We were happy. Then came the engagement party. She wanted it at her family's country club, the one with a 6-figure initiation fee. I knew this was her family's territory. "Ben," she'd said, "I know Daddy can be a lot, but this is important to them. Let's just let them host it." But a week later, Frederick sat me down. "Benjamin, about this party, I've seen your guest list. It's quite full. I want to be clear. I will of course cover my own guests, my associates, our family friends. Your contingent will be your own responsibility." He was handing me a bill for my own family, my parents, a retired librarian and a nurse, my 2 brothers, my friends from my trade. Amelia was mortified. "Daddy, don't be ridiculous." "I am being perfectly reasonable," he said, not looking at me. I felt this cold prickle of pride. "You know what, Frederick? Don't worry about it. I'll pay for the whole thing." Amelia looked shocked. "Ben, no, it's thousands." "I've got it," I said, looking right at her father. "I wouldn't want to burden you." He just smirked. "As you wish." So I did. I put the deposit down on my business Amex. The total quote was staggering, $19,200 for one night. It was a massive stretch. It was most of my savings. But I was so determined to prove to this man and to Amelia that I wasn't some charity case. I was building a life for us. Last night was the party. It was a lot. Chandeliers, a string quartet, people with names like Muffy and Biff. My parents looked terrified. I spent the first hour getting them drinks, trying to make them feel comfortable, while Amelia flitted around, greeting people I'd never met. Then came the toasts. Frederick predictably took the microphone. He was holding a glass of champagne, looking smug. "To Amelia," he started. "My beautiful, brilliant daughter. She's always had exquisite taste in art, in fashion, in life." He paused and looked right at me and my parents. "Now, when she brought Benjamin home, I'll be honest," he chuckled. The room chuckled with him. I was concerned. It's not every day your daughter, who has had every advantage, decides to marry. Well, let's be honest. He leaned into the mic. "About 10 rungs below her." The room erupted, not in gasps, in laughter. Loud, braying, rich people laughter. They thought it was the funniest joke in the world. I looked at my mom. Her face was white. My dad was staring at his shoes. And then I looked at Amelia. She was laughing. She had her hand over her mouth, her shoulders shaking, looking at her dad like he was the wittiest man alive. She caught my eye, still giggling, and just shrugged. Like, "What can you do? It's just Daddy." And in that second, everything just stopped. The noise, the music, the hurt, it all just vanished, replaced by this incredibly cold, quiet clarity. I laughed. Just a short, sharp bark. Frederick, surprised, pointed the mic at me. "Ah, he's a good sport. He knows it's true." "He's right," I said, my voice carrying in the sudden quiet. "He's absolutely right." I stood up and walked over to him. He looked confused. I gently took the microphone out of his hand. "Excuse me, everyone," I said. My voice wasn't shaking. It was perfectly level. "Frederick, thank you, genuinely, for your honesty." I looked at Amelia. Her smile was frozen. "You've made me realize that you're 100% correct. Amelia is marrying 10 rungs below her, and she deserves someone on her level. Someone appropriate." The room was dead silent. You could hear the ice melting in the glasses. And I continued, deserve a family that doesn't see me as a punchline. I deserve a partner who doesn't laugh when I'm publicly humiliated. And my parents, I looked over at them. They deserve to be treated with respect, not as your contingent. I turned back to Amelia. Her face was ashen. Amelia? What the? Ben, stop. You're making a scene. No, I said. Your father made a scene. You laughed at it. I'm just ending the show. I held up my glass. So, to Amelia, I wish you the best. The wedding is off. I put the mic down on the table. Amelia was just staring at me. Ben, you can't be serious. This isn't funny. I'm not joking, I said. I walked over to the event coordinator who was standing by the door with her mouth open. I asked her for the final itemized bill. She printed it, her hands shaking. The full amount, $19,200, already charged to my card. I walked back to Amelia. She was starting to cry. Ben, please, let's just go outside and talk. No, I said. I held out the bill. But you should keep this. It was your party with your friends at your club. You and your father can figure it out. She just looked at it. What is this? It's the bill I just paid, I said. Happy engagement. I didn't wait for a reply. I walked over to my parents. Mom, Dad, we're leaving. My dad stood up, put his hand on my shoulder, and we walked out. We left them all there, in the stunned silence with their $19,200 party. My phone started blowing up before we even got to the car. I didn't answer. I just drove. Update 1, it's been a week. I'm writing this from my workshop. It's the only place that feels sane. The fallout. Man, I am not a hero. I'm just a guy who makes tables. And I'm a guy who just spent $19,200 on the most expensive, most humiliating dinner of his life. That's not a win. That's a problem. My phone was a brick for 3 days. Texts, voicemails, from Amelia, from her mom Clara, from her friends, even from Frederick. They all followed a pattern. How could you? You humiliated me in front of everyone. You're an immature, sensitive child. My father was joking. You can't take a joke. You ruined my life, and you need to call the club right now and apologize and tell them that bill is yours. I'm not paying for your little tantrum. Clara, her mom, Benjamin, dear, I think this has all been a terrible misunderstanding. Frederick's sense of humor is an acquired taste. Amelia is simply distraught. Why don't you come over, bring her some flowers, and we can all smooth this over? A single voicemail. Benjamin, you surprised me. You've got some spirit, but you've made your point. You're also, I assume, realizing you've made a $19,200 mistake. Be a man, apologize to my daughter, and I'll consider helping you with, say, 25% of the party cost. As a wedding gift. Ahem. They all think this is a negotiation. They think I'm just posturing. They think I'm going to come crawling back, apologize, and beg them to take me back so I don't have to eat this bill. The entitlement is breathtaking. They truly believe the only problem here is my overreaction. So here's my methodical response. First, I had to deal with Amelia. She didn't just call. She came to my workshop, pounded on the steel door. I opened it. She was standing there in her designer coat, looking like she was about to spit fire. We need to talk, she snapped. No, we don't, I said. I'm working. You embarrassed me, Ben. You made me look like a fool. You made my father look like a fool. Your father called me 10 rungs beneath you. You laughed. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed my parents. The only difference is I'm not going to marry you over it. Now you need to leave. I am not leaving, and I am not paying that bill. You paid for the party. It was a gift. You can't just ungift something because you're in a mood. I just looked at her. The party was a gift conditional on an engagement your father publicly mocked and you publicly endorsed by laughing. The contract is broken, Amelia. You all stayed. You enjoyed the food. You and your 200 friends. You can pay for it. It's on your card, you idiot, she screamed. I know, I said, and I'm going to get that money back. I shut the door. She kept pounding for a few minutes, then left. Second, the money. This is the part that sucks. I'm not a fictional hero. I can't just eat $19,200. That's a new planer and a down payment on a new truck. That cripples my business's liquid cash. So I called a lawyer, a guy named Mr. Santos. He's a bulldog. I told him everything. The contingent comment, the 10 runs speech, the laughter, Amelia's texts, Frederick's 25% bribe. Santos was quiet for a long time. Then he just said, okay, they're old money. They hate two things: public scandal and losing. We're going to use both. He explained that this isn't a small claims case. The $19,200 is an expense in furtherance of a contract to marry. He said by publicly humiliating me and showing no intent to remedy, i.e. Amelia laughing, they breached the contract, not me. My revenge isn't some grand plot. It's a formal, boring, terrifying demand letter. Mr. Santos drafted it. It was beautiful. It was addressed to both Amelia and Frederick. It laid out the facts. Frederick's public statements, 10 rungs. Amelia's public assent, laughing, failing to defend her partner. My public dissolution of the engagement as a direct result of their actions. A demand for the full reimbursement of all party-related costs, $19 to $200, for which they are jointly and severally liable, as they were the hosts of the event at their private club, and their actions constituted a breach of the agreement. We sent it via certified mail. The response? Silence, for 48 hours. Then I got a call from a very expensive-sounding lawyer, Mr. Sterling. Mr. My last name? I represent the Lassenham family. We are in receipt of your opportunistic letter. Let me be blunt. You will cease and desist all contact. You will not get a dime. You publicly humiliated Miss. And if you pursue this, we will countersue for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and the full cost of her $15,000 wedding dress and other non-refundable deposits, which you are liable for due to your breach. You are a small man, Mr. My last name. Do not pick a fight with giants. And he hung up. I'm not gonna lie, I felt sick. This is what I was afraid of. They're going to bury me. They're going to ruin me, all because I had the nerve to stand up for myself. I called Santos. He was silent. He threatened you, Santos said. He called you a small man. He's trying to scare you off. It's working, I said. Good, Santos said. Now, we hit them back. What about the ring? I'd almost forgotten. The ring. I didn't just buy a ring. I made the box, a custom box of figured walnut with a maple inlay, and inside, a 2.5-carat ring. It cost me $22,000. It was my entire savings from the last 3 years. She still has it, I said. Perfect, Santos said. She's not entitled to a conditional gift after the condition is broken by her. She just admitted via her lawyer that she intends to keep it by countersuing. They just stepped in it. My revenge is now a survival plan. I have to get that money back. I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy who's about to sue his ex-fiancée for $41,200. Final update. It's been 4 months. I, 32, am sitting in my workshop. It's quiet and it's mine. The last few months have been actual hell. As I feared, the common man versus the machine is a real brutal fight. After their lawyer, Mr. Sterling, threatened to countersue, he and Frederick launched their real attack. It wasn't a social media blast. That's not their style. It was quiet, it was classy, it was devastating. First, my 2 biggest clients, 2 high-end interior design firms, called me. Same script. Ben, we're so sorry, but the client has decided to go in a different direction for the hotel lobby. Ben, the commission for the penthouse is indefinitely on hold. Budgets, you know. Budgets, right? These are people who don't have budgets. I knew Frederick's reach was long. He was on the board of one of those firms. He was choking my business. Slowly, quietly, no fingerprints, just bad luck. I was bleeding money. The $19,200 on my Amex was racking up interest. I was terrified. Amelia, meanwhile, was playing the victim. She did post on social media. Not a blast, but a single, curated, black and white photo of her, looking sad. The caption, sometimes you give your whole heart to someone, and they throw it back at you in front of 200 people. Learning to heal from public humiliation and learning to be strong again. The comments were predictable. You're so brave. He never deserved you. What a monster. This was their pincer movement, paint her as the victim publicly, while strangling me privately. I was on the ropes. I told Mr. Santos everything, the canceled jobs, the whisper campaign. Santos, my bulldog, was furious. That's tortious interference with business, he spat. It's almost impossible to prove, but they're not just defending, they're attacking. They've escalated. So we escalate. We didn't just threaten. We filed a lawsuit in Superior Court. Not small claims. The real deal. The filing listed 3 causes of action: breach of contract to marry, demanding the $19,200 for the party, citing Frederick's public statements and Amelia's assent as the breach. demanding the immediate return of the $22,000 engagement ring, a conditional gift. Tortious interference. This was the big one. We named Frederick personally, alleging he used his board position and influence to maliciously sever my business contracts, causing specific calculable damages. We listed the lost commissions. This was the nuclear option. This wasn't a private letter. This was a public court filing. It's one thing to have your friends whisper. It's another to have your name, Frederick's name, and the 10 rungs quote listed in a public legal document. The old money crowd hates public records. It took less than 24 hours. My phone rang. Mr. Sterling. His voice was different. No more small man talk, just cold, tired fury. Mr. My last name. My clients are displeased with this public spectacle. It is unseemly. So is trying to bankrupt me, I said. My clients deny all allegations of tortious interference. Vehemently. However, in the interest of privacy, and to avoid a protracted, messy affair for all involved, they are willing to discuss a global settlement. Global settlement, I repeated. What does that mean? It means we all go away. They will drop their countersuit for the dress and emotional distress. You will drop your baseless interference claim. And the party? And the ring? I asked. A long, heavy sigh. What is your final demand? I looked at Mr. Santos, who was on speakerphone. He nodded. Full reimbursement for the party, $19,200. And the ring is returned. Not the value, the ring. We drop the tort claim. They pay their own legal fees. We pay ours. That, Sterling said, is unacceptable. Fine, I said. Then I guess we're not settling. Mr. Santos, are you free for depositions next month? I'm really looking forward to hearing Frederick explain the 10 rungs joke under oath, and I'll be subpoenaing the records from those design firms. Checkmate. Sterling just said I will advise my client. The settlement meeting was yesterday. In Sterling's high-rise office, just me, Santos, Sterling, Frederick, and Amelia. It was the first time I'd seen them since the party. They looked smaller. The smugness was gone. They just looked angry and tired. We sat at a 20-foot-long mahogany table. Mine are better quality, by the way. His was a veneer. No one spoke. Sterling just pushed the settlement agreement across the table. We signed. He pushed a cashier's check for $19,200 across the table. Then he looked at Amelia. Amelia, the item. Amelia's face was pale. She reached into her $5,000 handbag and pulled out the custom walnut box I made. She slid it across the table. Her hand was shaking. It stopped in front of me. I picked it up, opened it. The ring was there. I closed it. We're done, Santos said. We stood up. As we were walking out the door, Frederick spoke. His voice was low. You'll regret this, boy. You've made a powerful enemy. I stopped. I turned around. No, Frederick, I said. I'm just a carpenter. You're the one who just paid $19,000 for a plate of bad jokes. You and Amelia, you made your choice. I just made mine. Amelia burst into tears. I walked out. So here I am. The $19,200 check is in my bank. The ring is in my safe. I'll sell it. My business, it's hurt. I lost those clients for good. Their whisper campaign did real damage that the settlement doesn't fix. I'm not a hero. I'm not a winner. I'm just whole. I'm back where I started, minus 4 years and with a hell of a lot more scar tissue. But I'm free. I'm not 10 rungs below anyone. I'm back in my shop. I've got a new commission for a library in a different city. I'm running a piece of rough sawn oak through the planer. The noise is deafening, and the smell of the wood is the best thing I've ever known. It's over. My fiancée's family sued me for breach of promise after I called off the wedding. I said, see you in court. Then my lawyer presented text messages where she admitted to cheating. Her family's case collapsed, and they had to pay my legal fees. Her humiliation when the judge ruled in my favor. I, 29 male, called off my wedding 3 weeks before the date. My fiancée, 27, was cheating on me. Her family sued me for breach of promise to marry. They're about to regret that decision. We were together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months. Wedding was supposed to be this month. Big expensive thing. Her family went all out. Her dad's pretty well off, owns some kind of manufacturing business. They paid for most of it up front. Venue, caterer, photographer, the works. I found out she was cheating 2 months ago. Not through some dramatic confrontation or catching her in the act. Through text messages I saw by complete accident. Her phone was charging on the kitchen counter. She was in the shower. It lit up with a notification. I glanced over, saw a message preview from a contact saved as gym trainer. The message said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was incredible." My stomach dropped. I knew her gym trainer. Met him once. Didn't think anything of it. I picked up her phone, no passcode because we trust each other. Opened the messages, 6 months of texts, 6 months of them sleeping together, meeting at his place, hotels, even our apartment when I was out of town for work. The messages were explicit, detailed. She'd been lying to my face for half our engagement. I screenshot everything, sent them to my email, put her phone back exactly where it was. When she got out of the shower, I was calm. Weirdly calm. "Hey, we need to talk about the wedding." She smiled. Started talking about seating arrangements or some nonsense. "No, I mean we're not having one. It's off." Her face went blank. "What? The wedding's off. We're done." "Are you serious? What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots. She went pale. Then read. "You went through my phone? That's your concern right now? You had no right. You've been sleeping with your trainer for 6 months, during our engagement, and I had no right to see messages that popped up on your phone while it was sitting on the counter?" She started crying, the whole performance. "It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake. I love you. We can work through this." "No. Please. We're getting married in 3 weeks. We're not getting married at all. Pack your stuff. You've got until tomorrow to get out." That's when she got mean. "You can't just kick me out. This is my place too. It's my apartment. Your name's not on the lease. You moved in with me. Now you're moving out." She called her parents. They showed up an hour later. Her dad, her mom, her older brother. All of them looking at me like I was the bad guy. Her dad started immediately. "What's this about calling off the wedding? Do you have any idea how much money we've spent? Your daughter's been cheating on me for 6 months. I have proof. The wedding's off." Her mom. "Cheating? That's ridiculous. She would never." I showed them the screenshots. Just a few. Enough to make the point without being graphic. Her dad's face went hard. Looked at his daughter. "Is this true?" She was full-on sobbing now. "Daddy, it was a mistake. It didn't mean anything." "How long?" "It doesn't matter." "How long?" 6 months, she whispered. Silence. Her mom looked like she might faint. Her brother just stared. Then her dad turned back to me. "Okay, this is bad. But calling off the wedding 3 weeks out? Do you understand the financial situation you're putting us in?" "The financial situation I'm putting you in?" "We've paid for everything. Deposits are non-refundable. We're out nearly $80,000 because of this. Because of her cheating. Because you're calling it off so late. If you'd found out months ago, we could have canceled with less loss." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So I should have stayed engaged to your cheating daughter to save you money?" "I'm saying there are consequences to this decision. We're going to have to discuss compensation." "Compensation?" "We made these investments in good faith, based on your promise to marry our daughter. You're breaking that promise." She broke it first. Her mom cut in. "This is all very emotional. Let's not make any rash decisions. Maybe you two can work through this. Go to counseling. Postpone the wedding instead of canceling. I'm not marrying someone who's been lying to me for 6 months." Her dad. "Then we'll need to talk to our lawyer about recovering our costs." "Talk to whoever you want. The wedding's not happening." They left. Took her with them. She was still crying, her mom comforting her, her dad looking like he wanted to punch something. I thought that was the end of it. 2 weeks later, I got served with a lawsuit. Breach of promise to marry. I didn't even know that was a thing. Apparently it's still legal in a handful of states. And lucky me, we live in one of them. They were suing me for $85,000, wedding expenses plus emotional damages to their daughter. I called a lawyer same day. Update 1, the lawyer I hired specializes in family law. She looked over the lawsuit, looked at my evidence, and smiled. "This is going to be fun." "Fun? They're suing you for breach of promise, but your fiancé breached first by cheating. That's a complete defense. Plus, you have documentation. They have nothing. So it'll get dismissed?" "Eventually, but we'll have to go through the process. They filed in civil court, so there'll be a hearing. Possibly a trial if they're stupid enough to push it that far." "Will I have to pay anything?" "If we win, which we will, You can counterclaim for your legal fees. Make them pay for wasting everyone's time. That made me feel better. But the next few weeks were hell. My ex's family started a campaign, not on social media, nothing that obvious, but through mutual friends, extended family, anyone who'd listen. Their version: I was a cold, heartless person who abandoned their daughter 3 weeks before the wedding over one mistake. She'd had a brief emotional affair, nothing physical, lie, and instead of working through it like an adult, I destroyed months of planning and cost them a fortune. People I'd known for years started looking at me differently. Her cousin, who I thought was a friend, sent me a long text about how disappointed he was in me. How his cousin made a mistake, but I was throwing away 3 years over it. I sent him the screenshots. He stopped responding. Her brother tried a different approach. Showed up at my apartment one night. We need to talk. I don't think that's a good idea. 5 minutes, please. Against my better judgment, I let him in. Didn't sit. Kept the door open. Look, what my sister did was wrong. I'm not defending that, but this lawsuit, it's tearing the family apart. My parents are stressed, she's a mess, and you're just making everything worse by fighting it. I'm making it worse? They only filed because they're desperate. They spent everything on this wedding. They took out loans. If you just agreed to pay back a portion of the expenses, they'd drop the suit. How much is a portion? $40,000, half of what they spent on the wedding itself, not including the emotional damages. $40,000. It's way less than what they're asking for in court, and you'd avoid a trial, legal fees, all of it. Or I go to court, prove your sister cheated, and pay nothing. That's not guaranteed. You don't know how a judge will rule. I have text messages of her cheating for 6 months. I think I have a pretty good idea. You're being stubborn. This could all go away if you just met them halfway. I'm not paying your family $40,000 because your sister couldn't keep it in her pants. Get out. He left, but not before saying, "You're going to regret this." The harassment escalated. Her dad called my parents, told them they raised a son who abandons people when things get hard. My mom called me crying, asking what really happened. I had to explain everything, show her the evidence. She was furious on my behalf, but also upset that I was being dragged through this publicly. Someone left a dead plant on my doorstep with a note, "This is what you did to her future." Classy. My ex started texting me from different numbers. Long rambling messages about how much she loved me, how the affair was a symptom of her feeling neglected, how if I'd just paid more attention to her, none of this would have happened. Classic blame shifting. I forwarded every message to my lawyer. Then the really dirty trick. I got a call from my boss. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint with HR, claiming I'd been misusing company resources. Using work email for personal matters, taking excessive time off for personal issues, creating a hostile work environment by discussing my upcoming lawsuit. All false. My boss knew it was false, but HR had to investigate. I had to sit through meetings, provide email records, explain the lawsuit situation. It was humiliating and clearly designed to screw with my job. HR cleared me after a week, found no evidence of wrongdoing, but the damage was done. Everyone in the office knew I was being sued. Knew about the cheating, knew about all of it. I told my lawyer about everything. The harassment, the dead plant, the HR complaint. Document all of it. Save every text, every message. When we get to court, we're not just defending against their suit, we're going nuclear. What does that mean? It means we're adding a countersuit for harassment and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And we're going to bury them. Update 2. The court hearing was scheduled for a month after I got served. Felt like the longest month of my life. My lawyer prepped me hard. We went over everything. The timeline of the relationship, when I found out about the cheating, how I called off the wedding, what happened with her family. She made me practice staying calm, answering questions directly, not getting emotional. The judge is going to see right through their case, she said, but we need to look like the reasonable party. They're going to try to paint you as vindictive. Don't give them ammunition. The day of the hearing, I wore my best suit, got there early. My lawyer met me outside the courtroom. Ready? Ready. We went in. The courtroom wasn't like TV. Smaller, less dramatic, just a judge's bench, a couple tables, some chairs. My ex's family was already there. Her dad, her mom, her and their lawyer. Some guy in an expensive suit who looked way too confident. She looked terrible. I don't say that to be mean. She genuinely looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her mom kept patting her hand. Her dad wouldn't look at me. The judge came in, everyone stood. We sat. It began. Their lawyer went first, presented the case. I'd made a promise to marry his client's daughter. They'd made substantial financial investments based on that promise. 3 weeks before the wedding, I'd called it off with no valid reason, causing significant financial and emotional harm. They were seeking $85,000 in damages. The judge looked skeptical already. No valid reason? What's the defendant's position on this? My lawyer stood. Your Honor, the plaintiff's daughter was engaged in an extramarital affair for 6 months prior to the wedding being called off. My client discovered this affair and, reasonably, chose not to proceed with the marriage. We have substantial evidence to support this. Their lawyer cut in. Your Honor, the alleged affair is irrelevant to the financial damages. The alleged affair is directly relevant, my lawyer said smoothly. Breach of promise to marry requires that the defendant broke the promise without cause. Infidelity is cause, a substantial cause. The judge nodded. I'll allow evidence of the affair. Present your case, counselor. My lawyer pulled out her laptop. Your Honor, I have text message records between the plaintiff's daughter and her affair partner spanning 6 months. The messages are explicit and clearly indicate an ongoing physical relationship. She'd compiled the screenshots into a presentation, professional, clinical, just enough to prove the affair without being gratuitous. The judge reviewed them on her own screen. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her eyebrows go up a few times. These are authenticated, she asked. Yes, Your Honor. We have the original device logs and metadata. My client discovered these messages on his fiancée's phone and preserved them as evidence. The judge looked at my ex. These messages are from you? She was crying. Again, yes, but were you engaged to the defendant when these were sent? Yes. And you were having a sexual relationship with another man during your engagement? She looked at her lawyer. He nodded. Yes, Your Honor, but I made a mistake. I wanted to work through it. He refused. The question was whether you were having an affair, not whether you wanted to work through it. Thank you. The judge looked at their lawyer. Counselor, your client was engaged in infidelity for 6 months. How exactly is the defendant at fault for calling off the wedding? Your Honor, while my client made an error in judgment, the defendant's response was disproportionate to the situation. Rather than attempting reconciliation or counseling, he immediately terminated the relationship and refused any discussion of the matter. His actions were hasty and caused preventable financial harm. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client was under no obligation to attempt reconciliation after discovering a 6-month affair. The breach of trust was fundamental and ongoing. No reasonable person would be expected to proceed with a marriage under these circumstances. The judge nodded. I agree. Counselor, I'm struggling to see how your clients have any case here at all. Your daughter was unfaithful for a significant period. That's not an error in judgment. That's a pattern of deception. Their lawyer tried again. The financial losses are real regardless of fault. My clients expended $85,000 based on a promise that your client's daughter broke first. If anyone breached the promise to marry, it was her. This case has no merit. My ex's dad stood up. Your Honor, if I may, you may not. Sit down. He sat. The judge continued. I'm dismissing this case. The plaintiff's daughter engaged in adultery during the engagement. That constitutes grounds for termination of the marriage promise. The defendant acted reasonably and within his rights. Their lawyer tried one more time. Your Honor, we'd like to request. The case is dismissed. Furthermore, I'm ordering the plaintiffs to pay the defendant's legal fees. You filed a frivolous lawsuit with no legal basis and wasted this court's time. My lawyer smiled. Actually smiled in court. Thank you, Your Honor. We estimate fees at approximately $8,500. The judge nodded. The plaintiffs will pay the defendant's legal fees in full within 30 days. If there's any further harassment of the defendant by the plaintiffs or their family members, he's within his rights to file for a restraining order. Am I clear? My ex's family looked like they'd been slapped. Her mom was white. Her dad was red. My ex was sobbing into her hands. "Yes, Your Honor," their lawyer mumbled. "This hearing is concluded." The judge left. I sat there for a second, not quite believing it was over. My lawyer packed up her laptop. "Well, that went well. That's it? It's done? It's done. They'll pay your fees. Case closed. And if they're smart, they'll leave you alone from here on out." I looked over at my ex's family. They were huddled together, her dad talking angrily to their lawyer. My ex was still crying. Her mom looked devastated. Part of me felt bad. Very small part. They just lost $85,000 in wedding expenses, plus my legal fees. That's a lot of money. But then I remembered them suing me, trying to make me pay for their daughter's mistakes, the harassment, the HR complaint, the dead plant, all of it. That small part got smaller. We left the courtroom. Outside, my lawyer shook my hand. "Congratulations, you're officially free and clear. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having such good evidence, made my job easy," she smiled. "Word of advice? Block all of them. Don't engage. Don't respond to anything. If they contact you again, you call me immediately and we file for restraining orders." "Will do." I went home, opened a beer, sat on my couch and just breathed. It was over. Final update. It's been a few months since the hearing. Figured I'd give a final update since people kept messaging asking what happened. My ex's family paid the legal fees. Took them the full 30 days, but they paid. My lawyer confirmed receipt. That was the last official contact. The unofficial contact was more interesting. A week after the hearing, I got a call from my ex's brother again. Different tone this time. Apologetic. "Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. You're right, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For all of it. The lawsuit was insane. I told them not to do it, but they wouldn't listen. Okay. My sister, she's not doing well. She's back living with my parents. Lost her job because she couldn't handle showing up. The guy she was cheating with dropped her immediately once everything came out. I'm hanging up now. Wait, I'm not asking you to care or feel bad for her. I'm just saying, you were right. About all of it, and I'm sorry we put you through that. Thanks, I guess." I hung up. Didn't hear from him again. My ex tried reaching out once. Long email about how she'd been going to therapy, working on herself, understanding why she self-sabotaged our relationship. How she didn't expect me to forgive her but wanted me to know she was truly sorry. I didn't respond. Deleted it. The extended family stuff was harder. Mutual friends mostly stayed neutral, but a few picked sides. Lost some people I thought were friends. Gained clarity about who actually had my back. My parents were great through all of it. My dad took me out for drinks after the hearing, didn't say much, just sat with me. My mom sent care packages with food and stupid notes. Appreciated it more than they know. Started dating again recently. Nothing serious, just getting back out there. Told the new person about all this on the third date. Figured she should know what she was getting into. She listened, asked questions, and then said, "So you're single because you didn't want to marry a cheater and her family sued you for it? That's the most reasonable thing I've ever heard. We've been seeing each other for a month now. Taking it slow. Work calmed down." HR thing became old news pretty fast. People moved on to other gossip. My boss actually gave me a raise at my annual review. Said he was impressed with how I handled a difficult personal situation with professionalism. So that worked out. The wedding venue refunded a small portion of the deposit to my ex's parents. Something about hardship circumstances. Doubt it was much, but at least they got something back. Their choice to sue me definitely didn't help their financial situation, though. My ex's dad apparently had to take out another loan to cover everything. Heard that through the grapevine. Feel bad about it for maybe 2 seconds, then remember he chose to sue me instead of holding his daughter accountable. Some people asked if I regret how things went down. If I should have just paid them something to make it go away. Hell no. They tried to bully me into paying for their daughter's mistakes. Tried to use the legal system to punish me for her cheating. They made a calculated decision, and it blew up in their faces. The money they lost was always going to be lost once she cheated. Those deposits were gone either way. But instead of accepting that and dealing with it, they decided I should pay. They decided I was responsible for the consequences of her actions. They were wrong. The judge agreed they were wrong. And now they're out even more money because they made a stupid, entitled decision. Do I feel vindicated? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think about my ex? Sometimes. Wonder what she's doing, if she learned anything. Mostly don't care though. The whole experience taught me a lot about boundaries, about not tolerating disrespect, about standing up for yourself even when people tell you you're being unreasonable. Her family thought they could intimidate me into paying, thought I'd fold rather than fight. They miscalculated badly. Someone asked me in a message if I think she really loved me. Honestly, maybe she did in her own way. But love without respect, without honesty, without basic faithfulness isn't worth anything. She loved me enough to want to marry me, but not enough to not cheat on me for 6 months. That's not love. That's just wanting the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities. And her family loved their money more than they loved accountability. They were fine with their daughter cheating. That wasn't the problem. The problem was losing money over it. Says everything you need to know about their values. I'm doing fine. Better than fine, actually. Got my own place, good job, new relationship starting, family that supports me, don't have a cheating fiancé or a lawsuit hanging over my head. Turns out that's a pretty good place to be. To everyone who sent supportive messages, thanks. To the few who said I should have just paid them to avoid court, respectfully, you're wrong. Standing up for yourself isn't vindictive, it's self-respect. And to anyone going through something similar, document everything. Get a lawyer. Don't let people bully you into accepting blame for things you didn't do. Oh, and pro tip, if your fiancé cheats on you 6 months before the wedding, just call it off. Don't worry about the deposits. Don't worry about what people will think. The money's already wasted. The relationship's already dead. Just walk away. And if anyone tries to sue you for it, get yourself a good lawyer and watch their case fall apart. That's all from me. Thanks for following this mess. Time to move on with my life.